Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Balandino Di Donato, and I'm a new PhD student at the Birmingham Conservatoire. And today I'm going to illustrate you the starting point of my research that I just started like 2 months ago, and which is focused on the musical sound spatialization using live gestural control. Mine will be musical and technological research that will investigate topics such as musical gesture, sound spatialization, the relationship between musical gesture and sound spatialization, and its outcome will be a sound spatializer, which will driven by a gestural control system. With musical gesture, I mean basically every human body movement that goes along with the music, and to a first classification that I did is to define who will perform the gesture, for which reason, and how it is being done. For example, here we have Angus Young that is performing a bending while he's playing his guitar. But at the same time, on the other side of the stage, we can have an audience that is moving their body as a reaction of the musical stimuli. And by observing all the movements, and I realized that they are totally different movements, but they refer to exactly to the same musical source. So I discovered that there is a huge number of variables to consider in order to approach and justify each musical gesture. So because of that, I choose to resize my research area, and I will be focused mainly on gesture acted during the vocal performances, which in the past they were used to emphasize the musical meaning of the music, or to clarify the song test, to communicate feelings or ideas, and to make stronger the relationship between the different performers on the stage. And instead today, it is important to consider and to understand their musical meaning in a performance contest, and to develop motion recognition system for the music production. My research will concern sound spatialization as well, with sound spatialization, and the sound spatialization can be defined as the projection of one or more sound in a physical or virtual space, which can be applied to simulate a real soundscape, or to generate, like, for example, sound designer does for movies, or to generate a virtual soundscape, like in gaming, for example, application, for example, or to compose. And one of the most important examples is represented by the soundscape composition. And the reason why I want to find out which is the relationship between the musical gesture and the sound spatialization is to find ways in which gestural data can be mapped to spatialization parameters such that the results are musical meaningful to both performer and audience. In order to achieve all the results, I will apply an action research method that I guess everyone knows what it is. And this method will be supported by the use of the technology. So I'm going to use a gestural controller that will produce some data, and those data are going to drive an interactive audio software in order to play all the sound signal processing, all the sound signal process for the spatialization. To choose the controller, I commercial gestural, a research about commercial gestural controller, And I realized that the mayo is the only one that can satisfy all my needs. And I've got a video that is not playing. Oh, not just the sound is going. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm lucky. This is the mayo. Which is not actually going. Which is basically if I can spot, is a sensor which is tracking the muscles activity of the arm, and thanks to this process, the analysis of all the data that we can get from this sensor, we can say which is the actual pose of the hand and which is the actual gesture. And inside this sensor are embedded, inside this control are embedded different kind of sensor like gyroscope, accelerometers, and to define the position of the arm in relationship with the body. And I conducted a research to choose the interactive audio software that I'm going to use to realize the spatializer. And I choose Integralive for all those reasons. And Integralive is a musician-minded application for live electronics, which is able to offer a creative space, a live space. Is it possible to connect any kind of device in order to play music and to script anything through Lua scripts, and it's possible to save and share any part of the whole project all over the world, and there is fully compatibility with any operative systems. And the last point, which is the most important one for me, is that it is actually open source and free. This is the current status of my research. If I'm lucky, the video is not actually going. Oh, I will just try to find a single frame to describe. So the current status of my research is a very first application. I developed a very first application in order to connect this sensor, which is this one that I have here on my arm. And I connected to Integralive, which is this software, and I'm trying to understand which is the relationship between what I'm doing and the musical results, and which are the most which gesture can explain what I'm actually doing musically. And so this is me. I'm sorry if all the videos didn't show. Yeah, and this is me.